tonight. It would be lovely. Oh, it's even doing a little intro. It's just doing it by itself. That's so cute. I didn't know StreamYard was going to do that. I feel so official right now. I mean, clearly we have the intro going, but we also have to introduce the book because I have our thumbnail for tonight because Colleen at ILikeOldBooks1213 is returning. So we had to do a special opening featuring the thumbnail image because tonight is our second to last Cozy Mystery Book Club YouTube live stream discussion. Before I love the like exasperated look Colleen has right now. She's like, where's the time gone?
Seriously, I just cannot. I can't believe it's the end of October, but I'm very excited because I'm always happy when it's October and I get to see you.
Well, you are the reoccurring October guest hostess, and I was doing the Instagram stories talking about tonight, and I'm going, wait, what is she? This is her third time or fourth? I don't even know. I just think October. It's you.
I know. I'm trying to think about. I think it might be my fourth because the first year I was a witch. Although I wonder if maybe that was I did another month. I don't know. But I think first I was a witch.
One night.
Second year I was a fairy. Last year I was like Haunted Mansion because we read a ghost book. And now I'm back to my witch. Yeah. So I think this might be the 4th October. Oh, that's so cute.
As soon as it goes, I'm trying so hard to be on theme tonight. I mean, you are embracing the fall autumn vibes. I'm loving the witch hat. I'm loving the outfit. I'm trying to intermix. This is why I went pink because it's not scary. So we have the teacups, but then we also have the little ghost right there. So we have the backdrop to go with Steeped to Death. So let me put this up because this is blowing my mind. We are officially almost done with the Cozy Mystery Book Club YouTube live stream discussions for 2024. And I'm just going to throw up the book blurb for tonight because there is a lot to unpack with this book. It's not so much a return to hometown. It's a return to the hometown that you used to visit when you were a child. We have reconnecting with friendships. So we have a little bit of a lost love, but then we have magical powers happening and we have the murder mystery and we're dealing with grief. So there is a lot going on in Steeped to Death tonight. So I am really curious what everyone thought about this book. Yeah. You guys are already commenting. It's going to take me a second to go back and get all these. You guys are so amazing.
Hi, everybody who's saying hi to me. Hi. And thank you, everybody who's complimenting my hat. I just bought it. Where did I buy it? Oh, Michael's, I think, maybe.
See, yeah. She makes me up my game because I knew she was going to do a costume. So I am very impressed. I mean, it's also perfectly color coordinated. So I also think it's funny that we both went black for Halloween.
Orange. Oh my gosh. Love it.
I mean, so this was it's a t-shirt because today it's a tea-themed cozy mystery. Yes. So Steeped to Death, for those who don't get the pun, it's the tea, steeping the tea. So I had to get a shirt that was specifically tea inspired. This was on Etsy. I just randomly was like, I need something tea themed. And I purchased this 3 or 4 months ago, put it aside. Very first time I'm wearing it. So I'm very happy and excited. Like we got the pullover, we got the book. You love this book. So I'm just going to pull up your information very quickly because I always get so excited. I just jump into the nitty gritty. So I want to make sure I introduce my lovely co-hostess over here. She has been a returning guest hostess. This is your Instagram page where you talk about cozy mysteries. And for those of you who are brand new to the book club, I'm Angela. I'm the one behind everything Cozy Mystery Book Club. And so I'm going to pull up the information for 1 second. So if you ever need to find anything, it's the cozymysterybookclub.com. So please feel free to reach out if you ever have any questions because there is a lot going on. And I'm going to pull up the little introduction for that because we dive right on into Steeped to Death because I'm so excited, but I don't want to forget to say hello and welcome to the book club. Yeah. So I'm just going to kick off. I mean, I have the poll going in the YouTube comments right now asking what people thought about the book. There's the poll for rating with the stars. You loved this book. You've already read all 3 in the series. I read your Instagram caption. So what did you enjoy about our October book club read, Steeped to Death?
So this was my second time reading it because my daughter and I have read all 3 audiobooks together. And really, the fact that she likes it is more important than me because she is very picky. She has been reading cozy mysteries most of her life. I don't know how that happened. And she has, she has her things she needs. It needs to have a cat. And of course, we have Bob, who is just darling. And it needs to keep her interest. And this one did. for me personally, it's kind of like my dream world, really. I'm a big tea fan. I drink a lot of tea. And I have a local tea shop that I love that makes, really beautiful blends of tea. And this tea blending world that the author really brings us into, we get details about tea steeping. I love it. I love hearing those details. And then, and it's a bookstore, which I work at a bookstore. I love books. I'm sure many of us do here. So, I mean, it's just this combination of things that are irresistible to read about. And I love that she takes time in all of those things, and giving us details about, well, how do you run a bookstore? I'm going to figure that out. How do I make tea? So I love all that. And plus I really like the main character, and her kind of journey that she goes on actually throughout the series. And I hope many of you will want to continue to read. And if you do, you will learn a lot. She kind of continues to grow and evolve in each book.
That's so nice to hear. That's such a wonderful summary. Just before we dive in and get into the details of everything, there's something so fun when it's your trope. And so that's what I was kind of thinking about. I'm going, okay, if you're a tea drinker, you're going to be all game, 100% in. Hopefully, if you're a coffee drinker, you still found some joy in the act of reading about tea.
She drinks coffee a lot too, though. She's always talking about the coffee she's drinking at Amy's.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Even the book itself. So we have scones. So we actually have more than just the tea, which was kind of really nice. So we're getting all the little cozy mystery boxes where, like, we have our cozy companion check. We have kind of the sleuthing best friend with the bookstore worker. We have, magical mystery happening, but we have our little love interest over here. But so instead of just being like, it's just all tea, 100%, we have scone baking. She's baking bread. I was so invested in this sourdough bread and her avocado toast. I needed to know how this was going to come out. And now tomorrow morning, there's no way I'm not having avocado toast. That is happening tomorrow morning. I mean, she totally now she's dictating my breakfast for tomorrow morning.
Right.
In addition to, like, all of the October festive stuff going on over here. But yes. I love that we were able to kind of say, like, even if you're not a tea drinker, you're like, oh, tea's not for me. Because even in the book, she says, he didn't drink his tea, but it's really good tea. Like, no, it's okay. We'll be fine. Like, we're going to move on. Because she just kind of was going, yeah, we're embracing everyone, regardless if you like tea, if you like coffee, I've got something for you.
This author is really good at kind of evoking those details about food, about baking. If you did like those baking details, you should check out another series that she has started. The first one is called A Pie to Die For, and it takes place at a pie shop. And she just has so many great details about making things. You really sit with the character and experience what she's making. Yeah, the Lucky Pie Mysteries. So you might like that if you really liked the baking details.
So I wanted to make sure I came prepared. I have my little overlays. You guys know I put in so much thought and effort. So I wanted to make sure that I had this in particular because Gretchen Rue has multiple pen names. So it's Gretchen Rue, and then it's Sierra, I believe, as well. And that's her real name, or, her birth given name. So I wanted to make sure I had her little bio there and the link to her website because she does have the different names. And sometimes in Cozy Mystery World, we don't know Eva Gates is also Vicky Delaney. And so this is something I wanted to make sure we pointed out because if you enjoy this book and this is her writing style, you're not going to want to miss out on the other series that's going on because if you love the writing, why not pick up the next one? So, I mean, I'm already kind of fascinated by this in particular because she seems very prolific and I'm going,
well, I want to bring something up and some of you may know this. If you look at that list of books that Angela gave,
I'll put it back up.
Yeah, put it back up. The Phoebe Winchester mysteries, those are the same as the Witch's Brew. Yep. That name and those titles are the UK version of the same book series. So that's, if you're in the UK, those are the titles that you're looking for and the covers. So if you're in the US, don't stress yourself out trying to find those because it's the same thing. I think it's really interesting how the UK covers lean into the romantic comedy aspect of it. They look very much like covers of like romance novels. So yeah, just wanted to mention that.
Oh no, I mean, I'm just going to pull up the book covers because this is the current series. So right now there are 3 books and I absolutely love the book covers. I know we're not supposed to talk about book covers like, oh, you know, you're not supposed to judge the book by its cover, but these covers scream cozy mystery and they're just so engaging and engrossing. I love the color palette. I love the magical mystical components. I love that we have Bob, the adorable overweight tabby on the cover. I mean, everything about them just pulls me in. And so I have a little graphic. So again, when I was in Canva, I was really going for it. I even have little overlays featuring like different types of tea steeping. So my little graphic to show the covers as they appear and pop up like magic.
Did you add on the cover of the second book? Do you see one of the books on the bookshelf is steeped to death? Did you add that, or is that actually
no, that's actually on the cover? That is, I mean, this is what I mean. The details for these book covers are gorgeous. And so I did post this in the Instagram stories because I was really curious how people read this particular book because Crooked Lane. So this is a hard copy book. So the price tag on the back says $28.99. So this one is going to cost you a pretty penny. And then I was blown away when I saw that the ebook was $17.99 when I was looking at it that particular day. I made a notation of that because again, I have my little notepad and I got to have everything prepared for you guys. So if you were hopefully you're able to get it through your interlibrary loan, you're able to listen to it through that OneDrive because again, I love the fact that they have these beautiful book covers, but I mean, you're paying a pretty penny for this beautiful book cover. So you put it on your shelf and have that hardcover edition. So if you bought it, I hope you love the book cover. I really do.
Yeah, that, Crooked Lane is amazing, but that is one thing as a bookseller I wish was different because cozy mysteries sell pretty well in our store. Somebody who works there has made sure to bring them in. Don't know who that was. But people like paperbacks. People buy the paperbacks. They don't really buy hardcovers. So I wish it was more readily available in paperback so I could sell it more easily.
Yep.
But yeah, like people are saying, luckily it is on different places, Hoopla, Everand. So that's one really good thing about Crooked Lane. Like they get their stuff to libraries really well.
They know, otherwise they're going to run into issues. So it's one of those, they're aware of the potential hiccup and they're trying to do that workaround for you. So I appreciate the mentality and thought with that because otherwise it could be more problematic. And we want to enjoy our cozy mystery. We don't be worried about how we get access or pay for it. We just want to sit back and read about our tea infused cookies, which I think sound amazing. And I want some, but someone was mentioning they listened to it on audio and I loved the narrator. I wanted to make a graphic featuring her and some of her other book series that she's done because I loved her. I don't know if you guys enjoyed her as well, but I'm just saying my personal opinion. I enjoyed the way she did the voices. I felt as if she read through the book multiple times to make sure all the characters sounded differently. She did a great job conveying emotion. So I wanted to shout out the other books that she's done because if you like listening to her, you might enjoy these books. So I wanted to add them to the list because every so often I'll find a narrator and I'm like, I could just listen to you forever. Where's the phone book? Oh, have fun. Like, I'll go and read that for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. She's good. And again, I mean, my daughter is picky about audiobook narrators. So the fact that she accepted her means something.
I love how you're like approved by the daughter. Yeah. Like gold star, extra bonus points right there. Oh my
God. Looks like lots of people liked the narrators.
Yeah, so that's a good question. I don't know why they don't do them in paperback, but maybe I know sometimes they'll do reprintings when it's very popular.
Yeah, I think it like did come out, but then it stopped being out. There was something was going on there. Yeah.
I know. This is going to be the question. We're going to have to get into the details because I feel like we're still just talking about general.
Yeah, let's go.
No, I was just going to say, when it comes to this book, if you're reading book 2, I'm going to be listening to it as an audiobook. I'm going to be using my Audible or do something because I love the narrator and I do want to read book 2. So if you guys want to read book 2, maybe we'll do Betty Read. We can always figure that out, but we do have to dive into the details of this book. Yes. But if you guys love the narrator like I do, we can listen along together. I'm going for it. But there's a lot to talk about with this book. I almost don't know where to start because I have all these different notes and I posted a lot of things on the Instagram with questions that you guys wanted to talk about. And so I don't know if you want to start with the love interest and get that out of the way, or if you want to go into the mystery itself, or you want to talk about Phoebe. But we have a lovely sleuther who is recently divorced. Her husband was not the nicest man. She did not necessarily, she shouldn't have listened. She needed to listen to her witch gut. She didn't listen to her witch gut when she got married, and he cheated on her. And now she's returning to her, the poor aunt. Eudora passed away before the book started. Now she's taking over the bookstore and her little cafe next door, and she's taking care of Bob. I want this fictional cat in my life. I love Bob. So she's definitely walking into a lot of, she's dealing with grief. She's got town things going on. What do we think about Phoebe? I'm asking Colleen, I'm asking you guys, what are your thoughts about our leading lady?
Yeah, I was thinking, like, as I read like the first few chapters, I was thinking about how everything really gets set up. And I think one of the things that is made clear is that Phoebe is a pretty positive person. I mean, as you said, things have happened that are sad for her, and yet you don't really see her wallowing. She's like, okay, I'm moving. Okay, I'm going to start a tea shop, and yeah, I'll jump into this. And I really kind of love that about her. Oh, sure, I'll adopt this cat. She has that like attitude, and it's not an obnoxiously like a positive, cheerful attitude. She gets sassy, especially in her interactions with Dierdre. She stands up to her and all that. But even in those, she will consciously think in some of those interactions, you know what? I'm going to smile at this person because that's going to annoy them more. And so I don't know. I was impressed with her attitude. But so I felt like her character was set up. We got, like you said, we got the cat, we got the kind of the feel of the setting, and some of the different shops that are downtown. But we definitely got like the bookstore tea theme early on. And of course, the villain is brought in, pretty early on. And I mean, Deirdre's obviously like the conflict, right? I mean, she's one of the most obnoxious people probably ever in existence. But anyways, so she really does set things up. So yeah, I that's what I thought of like the first 4 chapters was, wow, she's positive, she's feisty. I like her.
I was trying to find my reference here because I pulled the exact quote. She was referencing being tired, and she's going, I'm an adult. I'm not even pretend to have my side salad tonight. I'm just going to eat my meal. But the way she was mentally having a little sarcastic moment, for some reason, I loved it. And then I think the author kind of had a little bit of fun inserting. I mean, we are genre readers. That is what cozy mysteries are. It is a subset of mystery novels under the umbrella. And I've done a lot with the romance genre as well. And so I've encountered a lot of this. And she incorporated little moments of, we don't have guilty pleasures. If you enjoy something, it's just called a pleasure. So she got these little one-liners in there, and I'm going, yes. I mean, she knew her audience. I mean, we are genre readers. We appreciate those references. And the fact that Phoebe's the one saying them makes us like her, I feel like. I mean, especially me. I enjoyed her when she said little things like that, or, okay, yeah, we're going to have this over here, because, I mean, I do have to ask, what did you think of her having a murder mystery bookstore beginning? She put all the murder mysteries at the front of the bookstore, a display, the day after a murder occurred. And I was going, is this tactful? Is this good business? And I mean, she sold out of them at the same time. And going, I didn't know what to do with that scene in particular.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, wow, like that is a bold move, but like, all right. And it worked for her. So that was,
I mean, you referenced it before, and I think someone in the comments said it as well. She borrows the shopping cart. I mean, she just has these like little random fun moments. And of course, her and Bob, oh, here it is. Who am I going to impress? The cat. And Bob, he's not going to eat me in my sleep. Probably, like, question mark? I'm not sure about that. So we have a lot of like little fun one-liners. I mean, totally. They have nothing to do with the overarching mystery, her personal growth journey. None of that. They're just fun to read. Yeah. And they make me smile.
So a lot of people in the comments are talking about, Phoebe and regretting she didn't see her aunt more, and wishing we could have seen more about the aunt, and really liking, like, the thought even of the aunt. And I think that, indicates that the author did a good job of like kind of showing how important the aunt was. And we get the aunt's personality too throughout the, even right into the end, kind of a big reveal at the end, which we'll talk about. The aunt has a personality and a presence, which, I agree. I wish the aunt could have been alive so we could have seen her, guide Phoebe, but obviously her death is what brings Phoebe to this place. But
it's an interesting way to start a book. I'm kind of wanting to, I mean, if this was an author interview, I'd be like, what was the starting point where you realized this is where I wanted the story to begin versus, oh, she comes back, helps her during, I mean, she had a brain tumor. I believe that's how she passed away. And so I was curious almost how she decided she passed away, that she's been gone for 2.5 weeks now. We're picking up, she's moving into the new mansion. She's picking up the job. So it's a matter of the death has already happened off the page. So we still have a grieving character who's also feeling a little down on herself because of the divorce. I mean, this poor little character, she's had a lot of trauma in her life in the very recent, weeks of her. I mean, this has just happened. And so the fact that this is where we're starting almost like at a low point. So we're able to kind of build Phoebe up and then get to enjoy the small town community. I mean, everything from page 1 onward was definitely going to be more positive, better, because when you're starting that low, I felt like that was difficult to do, but the author somehow made it work, talking about, my gas was on empty. I mean, she was able to bring the focus in different places so that you're not just sitting there wanting to cry, going, oh my gosh, I love this character. How is she gone? And also there's something very, kind of got to give her props for this. She created a character without actually having the character on the page. Oh. And I mean, my first thought when I was making my notations was it kind of gave me that Rebecca vibe, because Rebecca is not in the book Rebecca. She's passed away. But at the same time, you know all about her. You understand that character. So, I mean, snaps credit to Gretchen Rue for that. So, I mean, the fact that Eudora was, I mean, I love Phoebe. I love Bob, but I love Eudora. And I mean, she didn't even have any dialogue.
Yeah. Several people are mentioning there should be a Eudora prequel, which is a great idea. Yes.
That would be a really fun novella or something to read. I would be game, because this woman seemed to understand the magical realm very well. I mean, she knew how Phoebe's powers were going to manifest. She knew what she could expect. This woman was in the know about stuff. I mean, no offense to Phoebe, but she didn't know anything. But Eudora knew all.
Actually, maybe we should talk about that next, is the magic in this series, because I saw someone actually comment asking, is this how witch cozy mysteries usually are? I was expecting more of a Bewitched type feel. And I've read a few and they've all been different, honestly. And this one I think is very different. Like her powers, which like maybe we can talk about. First of all, she didn't know she was a witch at all. She didn't know she had any powers whatsoever. So that's done sometimes. I feel like I've read some like that too. But then the fact that she has this power where she can stop time, that is very unusual. I don't think I've read another cozy where that's the witch's main power. And so that was really interesting. And I like how that it comes for her when she needs it. And she doesn't even know, and it happens because we really get to experience the whole thing with her. We get to see her. She's scared about what's happening, and then she's curious, and she finds, people who she can talk to about it. So yeah, it's very interesting that she didn't know Eudora was a witch, really. And it's only when she comes here and things start happening that she grows into that. What did you think, Angela? Because you may have read more witch cozies than I have.
I was looking down to find my notes because I was very intrigued by the fact that the author, I don't know if she intentionally did this, but I didn't realize how many paranormal mysteries and or TV shows that I've read and absorbed, because I'm going, oh, this reminds me of Simply Irresistible with Sarah Michelle Gellar, because you're baking your emotions into the food. And then even just a random reference where she knows they're going to break into her house on Friday. And I'm going, this is Home Alone. He's able to craft his own plan because he knows when they're going to break in. So I was finding these little random references, but it's not a cozy mystery. And some people try and classify it as a romance, but I think of it more as a fiction romance, not a romance genre novel. There is a difference. But a discovery of witches. She already knew she had powers, but it turned out she was spellbound, which caused her powers to be suppressed. But she had the ability to quote unquote time walk. And so every so often something would happen in Steep to Death. I'm going, did she read that book? Was this on her? There's an AMC TV adaptation of it's a trilogy. So if you're interested in a romance-based paranormal mystery with witches, that might be of interest to you. But I mean, I have the other books over here. There were other stories. We had Pies and Prejudice, where it had to do a little bit with baking the emotions into the pies. And then I know we have Secondhand Spirits. It's going to be 2025 TBR, but we did, it was called Something Potions with Heather Blake. So there are other witch cozy mysteries out there. I think it's interesting when it's a matter of how much is it going to play into the mystery itself, or is it in the backdrop? And One Poison Pie, I believe it was Lynn Cahoon, the witches and that magical mystical component was a huge part of the book itself. And so that really fed into the book, and like every page was going to have a magical reference. Whereas in Steep to Death, we almost kind of got her to learn about her witchcraft, but then there's a murder mystery going on, so it goes in the back burner. But then she needs to save I don't want to do the spoiler alert for the big moment, but then she needed to channel her witchy powers. So it kind of came and went. I mean, someone up above mentioned Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and I was going, thank you, because I love that TV show, and I will always reference that TV show. But there is a difference when you're 35 and you're a full-grown adult, come and you realize, wait a second, I'm a witch, versus Sabrina. I mean, it's always the teenager in puberty, the young adult novels that I've read so many of. I mean, I remember, what was it, the Vampire Academy? There's so many paranormals where it's like, yes, you're now 13, 14. You have to learn about your powers. So it's different to me that she started when she was 35, and now we're starting with no knowledge. This is different. Again, she doesn't have I was going to say Caroline Rhea. Instead of Sabrina and her aunts, like, she doesn't have her aunt to guide her here. And I also think it's fun that it's Aunt Eudora, like the aunts in Sabrina. So again, I don't know if she planned that, but it works. So she kind of got little pieces from other things and kind of put like a tidy little bow on it to make it different and give it her own little cozy mystery spin. But I think the fact that she tried to incorporate other stuff, like the tea components, made it a different cozy mystery instead of just be like, we have another witch cozy. It's a different type of witch cozy.
Right. Because it's
a very long answer.
No, I'm glad that you added some of your knowledge of other ones that you read. And you're right. It's like she doesn't have every power ever. There are certain things that she's going to be good at. Some people in the comments are talking about, Eudora choosing not to tell her, and how that was kind of, sad in a way, because like they could have bonded over that, and Eudora could have guided her. But Eudora, all knowing, apparently she knew that wasn't the right way to go about things, that it needed to develop. So, that was interesting. I was pretty shocked though, and I guess this kind of goes with her feistiness or open-mindedness or just really her can-do attitude, how when she was like, oh, Eudora might be like making teas to help people, and she might be baking things a certain way, like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and use this special brew that says like truth on it, and I'm gonna put it in the baking and see what happens. Like, I would be terrified to do that if I thought it might work, but she just goes for it.
I did think of something, and I want to make sure I get I want to say it correctly, because it's the Cozy Thrill on Instagram, and she has her own podcast that's specifically about magical cozy mysteries. Ooh. And so it's called, I want to make sure I got it right, Magic of Cozies. I almost said Magic of Cozy Mysteries, but it's Magic of Cozies podcast. So if you're looking for cozy mysteries that are specifically magic based, I have a podcast recommendation for you. I wanted to make sure I referenced that, because you can also find her Instagram. It's the Cozy Thrill. I thought of it because we both interviewed Angela M. Sanders, and she has another, this one's a library-based, not a bookstore, a library-based witch, mystery series. So there are other things out there if you're looking for them. Wanted to make sure I referenced that.
Oh, very nice.
But so I do want to go back to what you were saying, though. I'm sorry just to do that little like sidetrack tangent moment, because that is a good podcast. I wanted to give you the shout out. When you're baking, there's always something fun about the baking your emotions into something, because we had that with Pies and Prejudice. And then I loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So if Sarah Michelle Gellar was in something, I saw it. It didn't matter if it was a horror movie or whatever. Like, I would just go. If Sarah Michelle Gellar did it, I was watching it. So I remember she did Simply Irresistible. And when she was crying, her tears fell into the batter that she's making. And then everyone eating it starts crying. So I've seen that premise before, but this is where you make it the cozy mystery, making it the truth scone and giving the title a pun, and then having fun baking it so you get the background of actually getting again, you get the baking cozy mystery experience that of being a true baking cozy mystery. So that's where you kind of get to have a little bit more fun, and you go, oh yes, I just want to bask in my autumn glow with my scone. And so I liked the way she, again, took an idea and made it her own.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like you said, the magic isn't constantly like hitting you over the head, but as with the truth scone, it does further the mystery plot along in some way, while it also furthers Phoebe's understanding of herself. So I think that's well done.
I did think it was fun. So again, I love my pop culture references. Maybe this is also because I spent way too much time engaging in pop culture, but there was supernatural reference with her last name being Winchester. Yeah. And then they referenced the Winchester house, and I'm going, I got the reference. I felt like I was in on the joke with her a little bit in those moments. So it made it more relatable, because again, you think, okay, a powerful witch who can stop time is talking about Sam on Supernatural. It's different, but I love it. You wouldn't expect that. Oh yes, this powerful witch who's just learning her powers is talking about a CW TV show. And I'm going, yes, because it's an amazing show, and I miss Castiel, and yeah, come on, give me more references over here. I was like, you can include some more pop culture. I'm game.
All right. Well, there's swoony guys in Supernatural. So let's talk about the swoony guy in this book.
I love her. Like, this is the perfect segue.
Mr. Handsome Man Rich, who just constantly just gives her those butterflies in her stomach. He's just irresistible. What did you think about him? And also, I'm very curious as to whether you thought he was at all in the running for suspect.
So I was going to post this. I'm trying a new setup. I have my computer here, and now I have a keyboard down here, so I can post the poll for y'all. So I'm posting the love interest or suspect, because I almost didn't know what to do with this guy at first. And I realized pretty quickly he was supposed to be the love interest, but there's something kind of peculiar with a mystery narrative when the sleuther's going, I don't know if I can have a crush on you or if you're a murderer. Yeah. And then, okay, maybe you're not a murderer, but did you chase me in a rain, like in a trench coat earlier? There was a lot of kind of things going on there. I'm going, I wasn't totally sure if he was my love interest. He hasn't reached book boyfriend material yet, but he was interesting. And I kept him on my suspect list. I did. Yeah. I mean, luckily, I'm going to give Gretchen Rue another little, credit shout out here, because she kept our list of suspects short. The only thing that threw me was Chandra and her sister. We never actually see them again after the shopping cart was returned. So I had a like maybe 2 or 3 extra names on the list. But for the most part, it was a very short list of suspects. And I didn't know if I could cross them out or not. I mean, if it's going to be a love interest, he's not going to end up being our true bad guy. Although we did have something happen with one of our books, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, dead in gondola. But it's rare. But that's why one of my questions on Instagram was, do you like Rich or Leo? Because if it was Rich, I'm thinking she's going to go with her teddy bear Leo.
Sure.
Also, kind of like Leo.
I know Leo seems super, super cute too. Like I was definitely thinking, oh, he's, teddy bear romance material for sure. Yeah, no, I respect that. But I still feel like it was obvious that she was super attracted to Rich. People are talking about the trench coat though, in relation to Rich, like how he was like watching her or chasing her. And I did think that was weird too. This time reading it around, I knew that he was not the victim because I'd read it before. The victim or the murderer. And I was like, wait, he's the one with the trench coat. Like, why is he chasing her? Like, I actually want to go back to something you said. Okay, so most of us like Rich, it sounds like, although the trench coat thing was a little bit weird.
I didn't dislike him. I was just suspicious of him.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying the same thing. But what I'm curious about, you said there was a short list of suspects.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually really would like to know from people, was the list of suspects too short?
That's a good question.
I mean, I'm really curious about like who truly are the suspects. Okay, Rich, Dierdre, obviously, and then shoe store guy. What's his name? I should know his name.
It's Owen. Yeah. I had to look it up twice because I kept forgetting. I just kept thinking you're the shoe store man.
Leo, maybe, but I feel like we don't see Leo enough. And
he's not in it until about the 60-70% mark. And if he was the killer, I would have been so upset. I
feel like that's it. Because any of the other gals she meets, she talks about how she instantly loves them and feels like they can be her friend. So for me, that automatically took it off the list. But maybe that didn't for everybody else. Maybe they were like, oh, maybe Amy's a super amazing villain. I don't know. I'm just curious.
So I had that exact same thought process and question in my notes because I love the camaraderie with the female characters. Yes. And there were moments where I'm like, you cannot make her the bad guy because I will be so disappointed. And Gretchen Rue, again, I think she got her own opinion slipped in there where she's talking about, as a woman, you've learned to be quiet about this or something like that. So I didn't think she was going to pull the rug out from under me. But I've been disappointed in the past. So I still had that little okay, we're going to be on edge until I find out the ending of this because I didn't want it to be Amy. I didn't want it to be Imogen. And if it was one of them, I was going to be super disappointed. It was going to be, they were such a fun character. So I don't want to spoiler alert this book, but I'm going to use an example here. So Killer Chardonnay, we have a character, but we have moments with her before the big reveal where you're like, yeah, she kind of was suspicious here, or yeah, she said something that kind of was a little iffy. So you were kind of able to see where that came from. Whereas if it had been one of these lovely ladies, it would have been totally left field for me because Amy, here's this woman. I loved her. I absolutely adored this character. She was so cute. She was going, yeah, we don't need to exchange cash. I'll give you your latte. We can exchange the scones and the danishes. Like, we're going to make this happen. She was so engrossing and engaging. Like, there was just something so endearing about her. And if she had said something off color or done something, I would have been like, okay, you're on my suspect list. But because she didn't do that, I didn't want her to be a suspect. Yeah. So instead of looking at characters with that little, magnifying glass lens of our little sleuthing caps or, our little armchair sleuthing team, I had the character where I'm like, no, I don't want it to be you. I don't want it to be you versus I think it's him. I think it's that one. Like, no, I don't want it to be you. Please don't make this happen. So it was a different reading experience for me.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like in a way, there's sort of only two serious suspects, Dierdre and Owen, the mean people, which is interesting. But a lot of people are saying it's kind of annoying when there's a million suspects.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's kind of nice just to have a short list. And for me, it doesn't bother me because I'll be honest, I read cozy mysteries for the vibes. I do like being tricked, but I don't get tricked very much because I've been reading Agatha Christie since I was 5 years old. And so usually I know. But so it doesn't bother me really that there's a short list of suspects because everything is so wonderful in this book. I just love it. But yeah, I don't know. I was just kind of curious if other people.
So this is where the thought process was. So 2 through, and even Owen didn't seem like a guilty person. Really, only Dierdre was superstitious. And so Dierdre really was the only character who acted maliciously, which made me think it can't be her. So I actually never considered her a suspect because she was way too obvious. I mean, if it had been her, I felt like it would have been one of those like wah wah. It just wouldn't have had any sort of oomph at the end. It would have been, like, yeah, we saw that coming. I kind of like the fact that she wasn't our murderer. And now we also have someone who's going to be an antagonist throughout the series. Where you're going, yeah, we love to hate you. We just, you're going to cause problems and you're going to keep the story. You're going to be the catalyst for things to happen. So she makes sense in a literary way. But as a reader, if she had been the bad guy, I would have been going, okay, I'm glad I read this book. I mean,
I agree. I completely agree that like it would have been disappointing if Dierdre had been the murderer, even though I really don't like her and I don't like her in any of the books. You're absolutely right. She gets to be the villain more. She adds that, sass and conflict. And it would have been too expected. So yeah, I totally agree.
So you referenced the Agatha Christie, and so with her, you have, okay, we are on an island. We are in the locked room mystery. You always have that small set list of characters, and that's what makes a cozy mystery a cozy mystery. We're not going to have the surprise person who had been stalking them from the line. I mean, I'm thinking of a book in particular here where the bad guy's not revealed until the last 3 pages. You're going, I could never have solved this. It's not possible. With cozies, you have to be introduced to your bad guy. So the fact that we have that Agatha Christie vibe, and there were Agatha Christie vibes. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but okay. Even the name of Bob. Does anyone here remember Dumb Witness?
Because
dog in Dumb Witness, and did not make reference to that in this book. But every time I kept thinking of Hercule Poirot going boom, boom, the way he says it in the TV adaptation. He's doing his little trick with the ball. Every time the narrator said Bob, I was having Perot say it and doing like a little edit in my brain. So I do think she might have channeled some Agatha Christie vibes to keep the list short, which kind of works for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go throw my Perot, my obligatory Perot reference. And we do have a Perot reference in the book. We actually have 2 of them, I'm pretty sure. So David Suchet is my Perot. I love him. You're entitled to your own opinion, but David Suchet is my man. But I love my Perot, and I love the Bob name. Again, I don't know if she intentionally did that, but I had fun with the fact that the cast name was Bob. And you just got really excited. Like, I noticed that too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I always love when they reference the queen. I mean, but yeah, so it sounds like people were kind of happy about the shorter list of suspects, and talking about how character lists can be nice, but sometimes it's harder for there to be lots of people, because then you can maybe get the people mixed up, which I totally understand. That has happened to me a lot. And sometimes there's books where like the character names are super similar to each other. And I'm like, oh my God, why does everybody's name start with H? Like, why did we do this? But I felt I don't think I got too confused with characters in this one. I'm trying to remember from the first time I read it, because like by now I know, more of the characters. I don't think I got too confused. Who else I really like character wise is the old guy.
He's on my list. That was one of my little question points. I loved this storyline. It had nothing to do with the mystery. It, to me, felt like the small town setting where you're getting to know the characters, and it pulls you in with the Hallmark vibes. Yes. Would you like to explain why you enjoyed this? Because I myself loved this moment in the book. Oh, my heart.
Well, I just love that he's a regular at the bookstore, and that's his safe space where he enjoys being, that like helps him feel a little bit less alone. And he falls asleep reading by the fire, and it's so sweet. And I will say he is in future books. So if people continue reading, you will continue seeing him, and some developments in his life as well that are really fun. So.
Oh, here it is. His name's Mr. Loughrey. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Loughry. Ery, if I can read my own handwriting correctly. But there was something so sweet about his interactions. And when he liked Bob, you knew he was a good character. If you like the cat, you're fine in my book. As soon as the cozy companion gives you that little cat nudge with the nose, you're golden. You're fine. I trust you automatically. But it was so sweet where he just wanted to be there around people, and he literally would buy the book and then sell it back to them. And he's spending more money buying tea. He just wanted the company and the coziness. And I'm just going, you are such a sweet individual. And I know you're fictional, but can you adopt me? I'll be your friend.
I know.
Even the knitting group, we don't really get to see them. We hear about them more in this work, but we know that they utilize that sort of setting for their camaraderie and talking about books and having their own moments of fun. So, I mean, I like the little side character moments. His was my favorite though. That was one of my, it has nothing to do with the overarching narrative, but those are the details that win me over as a reader. If you can pull on my heartstrings, if you can have me going, oh, I'm invested in you emotionally. That was one of those scenes where I'm invested in him emotionally. So now I'm going to worry about him in every future book, naturally, because murder mysteries.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Hi, Regina. Regina's here. Not only do I love him for himself, but him and just really other people that come in. What I love is how she establishes that this bookstore is an important place for the community.
Yeah.
It is a center for different things. Because I also work at a bookstore that is very much an important part of the community with different events and different people who come in who this is their safe space. And I really relate to that. And it's such a special thing. And I love that she establishes it. And Phoebe isn't the one who created this. You know, her aunt is the one who created this, but Phoebe sees like, wow, like this is an important place. And like, I'm glad that I'm here. So,
I mean, can I tip my fictional hat to Eudora? Again, she's not on the page, but the amount of things she did for her small town, it's just amazing. I mean, again, she's fictional, but I give this character so much credit. She's trying to fix potholes. She's trying to refurbish things. She's trying to donate money. And she's helping people who have records, trying to attain employment so they can stay on parole and better themselves. And she just has such a kind heart. And I love that she wanted to not just foster a sense of community, but she wanted to be a part of it and make it better. It wasn't a matter of, oh, I want companionship or friendship. It was like, I want to improve people's lives. She had that sort of I was going to say motivation, ambition. She's going, I'm going to make this town better for you. And she won me over. The only downside was she didn't tell Phoebe about her powers. I mean, aside from that, she's lovely.
I know. Well, then, I mean, I'm just bringing this up now. She also doesn't tell Phoebe that, like, oh, by the way, I own the town. And now you do. And so we don't get that, until the very, very, very end, which is okay for us. But it's very interesting that she chose not to tell Phoebe that.
Yeah.
Because she felt, again, we get in her letter, like towards the end, that she needed to come to that realization for herself. She needed to understand the town and understand the bookstore and choose to be a part of it on her own before she finds that out. But still, I mean, the practical side of me was like, that's crazy.
This is where I have my moment of, okay, we really have to suspend our disbelief to some degree so I've been doing mystery writing classes and doing all my readings and stuff, trying to get back into the flow of things. And one of the terms or phrases, I love Jessica Fletcher. I love Cabot Cove. So when they say something a little bit off about Cabot Cove, I'm a little, I want to protect my Jessica. But they called it the Cabot Cove syndrome or the Cabot Cove problem, because after a certain point, why would you still live in Cabot Cove? We would get out of there. And so I think the fact that, I mean, you have... trying to figure out like how I was going to phrase it, but she's able to kind of counteract stuff instead of having that sort of problem emerge. I mean, we didn't have the Cabot Cove syndrome here. We had the small town where things sort of, you're going, you have to suspend your disbelief for Cabot Cove. Excuse me, as I this is tumbling over. This is getting late for me. The dog woke me up early this morning. So I'm just thinking like, you have to suspend, like, yeah, we're going to Cabot Cove and we're going to be okay here. But at the same time, like, yeah, if you were a real person, you would have moved out of this town forever ago. You would not be inviting Jessica Fletcher to your home. I mean, yes, I love her and I idolize her, but I would not want to be friends with this woman. I'm going to end up in the morgue. So I mean, we have our problems with Cabot Cove, but so we kind of accept, like, yeah, all these seasons later, yeah, we're still here for Cabot Cove. So that kind of happens with other cozy mysteries as well. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure the police would have noticed that, or yeah, maybe there wasn't DNA, but this thing actually would have really helped you over here. So there are some things you kind of just gotta go, okay, we're gonna go with the flow, see where the author takes us. I think to me that was one of the moments, because I don't know how business wise you would do that. I mean, you have to file tax returns and stuff. I mean, did we forget about things like that? I mean, you have to sign paperwork. I mean, if you're in charge of these funds, lawyers are going to have to speak with you about it, regardless of, I don't want her to know. Right. That's not feasibly possible in the long term.
Yeah, I have a hard time imagining the lawyers be like, yes, 100% sure, no problem, we'll do this.
There was one comment I saw, I'm trying to find it again. Someone said they loved, is it this one? Where it was, they loved that they didn't say, oh, here it is. How they supported her and they didn't say Eudora didn't do it like that. So Meredith R, I think that's a great comment, because people did support Phoebe, and every so often, depending on the book, you don't really know where the author is going to take it. When it's okay, we're returning to hometown. You abandoned us. Why are you back? What did you fail at? Why did you come back here? What are you going to do differently? Oh, you're trying to change. You want to modernize. You want this or that. So you can go so many different directions with that. And the fact that I love how she's like looking down at the 20-year-old, like, you're gonna be in charge of TikTok and Instagram. So she's not, I mean, we're not going to get into age brackets here, but she's 35. She is not old by any stretch, but she's also not a kid. And so the older women in town probably could have been going, yes, this is how we do things. We've lived here forever. You only visited on, for summer months. So you don't really get to have a full say yet. You just came to town. They give her kind of automatic respect and kind of like, she's sleuthing. I mean, you've got to be a busybody to some degree to be a sleuther and get some details going. You have to ask some questions. And she did that, but nobody held it against her. Nobody was going, okay. And the only person who did turned out to be, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if you want to get into spoilers. So, so I like the fact that they supported her in her endeavors. And I also appreciated how they went to the bookstore. It wasn't she now owns it, we can't go there anymore. It was still that community. It was still inviting. It didn't matter who was in charge. It was the space itself. And it's almost like the main Eudora energy kind of lives on because of that. So there's so many comments I'm missing.
I know there's so many comments. And I agree with that, because like I can have a little bit of conflict in cozy mysteries, but too much like conflict or animosity towards the main character really stresses me out. What also stressed me out was her walking around with paperwork. Yes. As everybody is just talking about that. Why did that happen? Yeah, that was crazy. And I also find it hard to believe that paperwork wasn't also somewhere else. Like, surely the lawyers have it. Everybody's like, let's get her. Like, once we take care of this paperwork, nobody will know. Really? But that's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Also, can I interject and say the thing, like, again, where we're suspending disbelief? That type of paperwork, like, that paperwork needs to be notarized and have witnesses.
Yeah.
Hello. I'm sorry. The legality of that versus how it works for the story, kind of different. But I'm loving the comments about she needed a safety deposit box ASAP. And I was losing my mind when she was trying to make her avocado toast, because she went to the store and she didn't have time to put her purse where she was supposed to put it. So the purse was not locked away, and the purse had all the important paperwork with all of the deeds. So she's working with people coming in and out of the store. And I'm going, if this is where she loses the paperwork, I am going to be so mad. And so one of the terms we have, and I don't necessarily like this term, but it's called too stupid to live. That pops up with romance novels, where it's like, yes, I'm going to go do this really scary, silly thing for no apparent reason because it works for the plot. And so I'm going, please don't let this be that moment. And I was so appreciative that Gretchen Rue did not do that. I was going, thank you for not having this be a she made this happen to herself moment. Right. And also she acknowledged that it was a dumb thing to do. That's also where I was okay with her. I'm going, thank you for acknowledging that this was not the smartest move on your behalf.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I will say her choosing to like walk down the road, like really obviously hiding something, may also not have been like the smartest, but it's fine.
I like this one, Anita. It drove me crazy. She never made an appointment to visit the attorney. Yeah, she just kept going like, I'm going to go to the attorney. I'm going to go to the attorney. Don't they usually make you do appointments? Even if it's a free consultation, you got to get on the Zoom meeting book. Okay, everybody seems to have comments about the paperwork. I am loving this.
But as Kirsten points out, we are accepting that she can stop time. So maybe we just need to be okay about that.
I also think today just won. The town was full of great people, minus Dierdre. That is the comment of the night, minus Dierdre. That was amazing.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that is literally the town. That could be the name of the town. Great people, minus Dierdre.
Minus Dierdre. But she works for the narrative with the literary purpose of making things happen. Yeah. We understand her purpose.
Right.
Someone on the Instagram story said she was their favorite character because they love to hate her. And I'm going, yeah, even if you hate her, like that's an emotion. The author's doing something to you. If you can actually hate a character, there's something to that. Sometimes it's hard to make you really despise a character if you have the antagonist. I mean, I will sometimes go, oh, morally great character. You're so cute. I like you. Did not have that with her.
You know who we haven't talked about, and somebody mentioned this, the murder victim.
Yes, we also haven't talked about, I appreciated the fact the police were not dumb in this book. So her name is Patsy Martin, aka Patricia. She is in charge at the police station, and she is there at 10 p.m. working late trying to solve this mystery. And our murder victim, we don't actually really get to engage with him. And so when this book was selected, I hadn't read it yet. So this was a new book for me. And so one of the things, someone mentioned this in our last live stream, I've also taken to not reading the back of the book blurb if I can help it until I need to prepare for book club and everything else, in which case I learned this book backwards and forwards. So doing that, I always read my book first as just the reader. And then I go back, look for my details, make my annotations, promote the book, take all my photos and everything else. But when I first opened this, I'm thinking Dierdre is going to be our victim. I'm thinking she is going to be our victim. Yeah. Someone is going to want to kill this woman. And so the fact that she was not our victim from the get-go kind of actually surprised me.
Yeah, because it's such a trope where, oh, really mean person doesn't like the main character. So the main character is the suspect, like it. I mean, do I love lots of books that do that? Yes. But it is done a lot. And instead, the murder victim, as 2-3 said, is like this guy who we barely see and no one really cares about him.
Amanda reads cozies. I thought it'd be Dierdre and Phoebe would be the suspect. Thank you. Okay, so I am not the only person when you start this book and you don't know what's going on, who the victim's going to be, you kind of almost have that, yes, this is what typically happens in cozies, and then the rug. But our victim, we still don't really know our section here. So we eventually find out that he went to jail and it wasn't aggravated assault or anything super awful. I mean, if we were having a spectrum of criminal acts, he did fraudulent deeds, he did other bad things. So he wasn't the best of people. But at the same time, he didn't actually try and hurt people maliciously, intentionally. So you're kind of like, okay, what are we doing with you? You're not the best, but you're not the worst. So we're kind of looking at you a little skeptically, but Eudora wants to give him a second chance. So if you trust her judgment, you just sort of go with it. Like, yeah, there's going to be something redeemable about him. And then we come to find out that his father sold pretty much Main Street to Eudora for a very low sum, but he's in jail and she's supporting him. She's sending him money. She's trying to get him on his feet. And so it's not until after she passes away that he's thinking, okay, now she's gone. Let me go get my dad's land back and make some money. Right. But at the same time, we don't really know if he was going to up the rent. We don't know what the intentionality was. So we just have kind of an idea of what was about to happen, but we don't know, again, is this malicious? Is he really going to do things? Does he just want access so that he can support himself? Or is he going to, up and leave town with everyone's money? Like, what's going to happen next? We never get to find out.
Yeah. Because we see him in one scene where he doesn't talk at all. And then he's dead.
Exactly.
And it's interesting. I feel like a lot of Phoebe's sleuthing was not so much like trying to find the killer other than Dierdre, who she may have suspected just a little bit. But it's trying to understand like Eudora's past and Eudora's connections to different people. She looks through photo albums. That's where she sees that, Dierdre knew Ox. So it's kind of interesting how the house and items in the house are what she's sleuthing with, because she's trying to understand like the pieces from the past that may have influenced what happened.
I mean, so I'm just going to throw this up there. I love the description of the house. So I actually went to look this up because I'm going, is unicorn tapestries a thing? And then I fall down this rabbit hole. So I'm including a QR code. So if you want to go learn about unicorn tapestries, there's a Wikipedia page just on that. I mean, this house sounded like it was magnificent when she was talking about, well, if I believe in simplicity, she's the maximum. Like, she goes for the maximum. She is not into simplicity. So this house was this magical being unto itself in a way. And so she gets to live in this fabulous location. And we have to talk about the meet cute. We talked about Rich a little bit about him being a suspect, but the meet cute for these two people, she knows that there's a little apartment above the bookstore. So she's thinking, let me go look at this apartment, see what's going on. And Rich is in a towel, just getting out of the shower, so he's almost practically naked. And then at one point she says, yeah, you don't need to be naked to have a conversation. You can go get changed, put on clothing, put on pants. She gets to meet him as she's going in to the apartment. So she gets to run smack dab into an almost naked Rich. But we have these characters who kind of don't really know what's going on. Like, do I have a landlord? Where's my money going? Oh, it's going to this company. So when it comes to Main Street, I have a lot of questions about the background of people and things. I just wanted to throw in that meet cute, total tangent digression moment. We do have to talk about that. But this guy, like, we never get to really meet our victim. We don't really get to say, yeah, this is what's happening. Or we don't get to, like, he's not one of the tenants. He's not trying to get anything. We don't know what's happening. So I kind of wanted more information about him with his background, because we do have other characters we get to meet. And apparently we get to meet a lot of Rich. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. As I've said that twice tonight already. But yeah, that was, can we just go back to talk about that meet cute for a second? Because you're laughing, you're looking down, like, you have thoughts, you have feelings.
I mean, you can see why this could also be viewed as a romance novel, because yeah, I mean, that was just great. And don't forget, I read this with my child, so but it's fine.
Hey, there was a Hallmark movie one time where we came out of that, like, there was a legit scene one time. This guy must have had an 8-pack. It wasn't a 6-pack. It was an 8-pack. He was built, and he was coming out again. There's only one bed in this small town where they're trapped there with the snow, and they have to share a room. So naturally, he comes out in the towel with the steam coming behind him. I'm going, this is a PG-13 Hallmark moment. So sometimes they get away with stuff, and that can kind of get away with that in this book, because it's just okay.
And I mean, despite that scandalous meeting, I do like how their relationship, even though she is very like, secretly totally falling for him, it's not a rushed thing. He wants to spend time with her, and they have a couple nice scenes together, like at the diner where she first stops time, and then when they go for a walk. And there's moments of that romantic tension, but it's not rushed, and I really like that, because again, that makes you want to read the next book, because you want to see how is this going to continue to develop. And I prefer that. I prefer them not to just totally be 100% into each other in the first book.
That's the insta love. So again, we're suspending our disbelief with the Cabot Cove complex over here, but at the same time, you can't suspend disbelief in everything. If you're going to have us believing in some paranormals, you got to give us some realism somewhere else. It kind of has to keep something grounded. That's my own personal reader take. So I think the relationship is the grounding component, except I'm going to do a spoiler alert here and say the ending. He knew she was a witch.
Oh my gosh, I love that at the end. I just love that. It's so fun.
I mean, that also puts perspective on, okay, question time. If you randomly run into someone and then they ask you to go get lunch at a not necessarily formal, it's a diner, but this is his diner. This is his special place. Again, you use the word safe place. He feels comfortable there. Is this a date? Is this not a date? They almost kiss. They have longing looking moments, but they don't. So is this a date? Are they on the right path? I was very kind of confused at that, because at first I'm going, this isn't a date. And then the more she talked, I'm going, yeah, this is a date, isn't it? Was that a date? Can someone explain, please? I know I'm a grown woman, but please.
Yeah. No, I get that. And I mean, I think that's also plays into the, possibility of him being a suspect too. I mean, I think several people didn't really keep him on the list, but that like uncertainty about what exactly is going to happen with them is also, you know, part of wanting us to maybe be uncertain.
I just saw this comment going back to your point. Amanda reads cozies. I like the slow burn, but don't drag it out. Cough, Joanna Fluke, cough. Oh, amazing. It is Joanna. I said Joanna for a second, but it's Joanne Fluke. Oh, that was a great reference. You just made me so happy. So you guys are saying it's a date. I was curious because I mean, boy, I'm just gonna say the boy you like sitting across the table from you, giving you his full attention, didn't even have the cell phone out looking at text messages or something silly like that. So I was going thinking it was a date, but I wasn't entirely positive. I was like 85% sure. Throwing that out there. But this kind of goes back to maybe this is just the author style in general. So maybe this plays into the slow burn kind of component because I feel like the entire book itself, nothing was rushed. We kind of got to go through the day as it was unfolding. It wasn't, oh, and now all of a sudden I'm over here. Oh, and we're fast forward over here. We have a montage moment. We kind of got to experience things as they were occurring. So maybe this goes into her being the character who knows about time. So maybe the pacing plays into the time period and how the relationship unfolds plays into the time components of it. So maybe my little analytical literary brain is going overdrive, but I think the pacing is indicative of other things going on with the narrative or how the character's developing or how things are happening over here with the town. So I was curious what you guys thought about the pacing of this because I know someone said they love the short chapters. I saw that comment pop up here and on Instagram. And then it's also the setup for book one. So we have to have the world building, which is kind of a lot of work. So what did you think about the style of how the book was laid out? I'm asking you, I'm asking comments. Please comment away.
Yeah, I like the pacing. I like cozy mysteries where we really get to see into the main character's mind and hang out with them a bit. And I feel like that is Gretchen Rue's style, where we really like a lot of times maybe they're baking or something like that, and we really spend time with them. And so I'm impressed with how she does have so much internal stuff, but she also manages to keep other character development going, the plot going, and like you said in this one, world building. And really in some ways I feel like the world building is not done because Phoebe still has a lot to discover about herself. So yeah, I think she balances many different things really well.
Because every so often we'll be like, this book is so fast paced. Oh, we're going through it like this and you're flipping through. I felt like this was a leisurely read. Again, talking about going for the vibes and the aesthetic of how you want to embrace the cozy mystery. So this is a cozy mystery I think you fall into because you get your tea, you get your baking, you get your cozy companion, and you just get to absorb it and be in that world. And so the fact that she takes you through it with those details speaks to the cozy nature of it. I don't know if you could get away with this type of pacing. I mean, this would never be a thriller. We could never market it that way. But for us, it's perfect. It's like she knew who her readership was and what they wanted and expected. So I think the pacing to me was something I definitely wanted to make a notation of because the short chapters were also really intriguing. And I was glad other people were mentioning it because, I mean, when you have a mystery novel, you want to have details, but you don't want them to drag on forever. And the end of chapters did get us to move from one place to another or one thought process to another instead of having too many details. There was like, and cut scene. So it almost gave me like a sort of like cinematic moment of and cut.
No, I totally agree. I can't stand long chapters and cozies. And I very much like start to get impatient if I feel like, oh my gosh, what's even happening? So yeah, no, I think she balances it well. And it's interesting. People are talking a little bit about the stopping time thing. And I actually think, even though I completely agree that this is not a thriller, I think that first moment where she stops time is pretty exciting. Yeah. And it is pretty unexpected. I mean, I don't think anyone no matter how many cozies you've read, I don't think you're like, oh yeah, she's going to stop time soon. Yeah, no. So it's surprising when it happens and it's interesting. And so, I mean, maybe in your mind, you think, okay, this is going to come into play again. Like this is probably going to be important, but I really like the end too, when she stops time, because that's really exciting and interesting, and the choices that she makes when she stops time I think is really interesting. So I mean, like, she actually thinks about it, and at the end when she is able to stop time, when she's getting shot at on the main street of this town, she thinks, okay, what should I do? Because this bullet needs to not hit me, but I also need to figure out a way for him to not be shooting me anymore. So she runs back to him, Owen, by the way, everybody. And
we're in full on spoiler. This is the climax.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's 7:09. She takes the gun out of his hand, throws it out of his hand, and so she's like, I love how she does that, because then he's totally confused. He doesn't have his gun. She makes really good choices for only her second, experience with stopping time. So I don't know. Yeah, but people are debating, like, is it too cheesy that she can stop time, but only she can't really control it? But other people are saying, no, that's good. But anyways.
So Piper on Charmed could freeze things in the moment, and so when she was pregnant, she had her son's abilities inside of her, enhancing her own. She could full on stop time. So Marta, thank you for the Charmed reference, because that was actually in my notes. That was one of the pop culture references where I'm going, we're pulling details from over here and over there. But it's different though. This is why I think it's so intriguing. When it comes to adaptation studies, how do we make it different? How do we make it stand on its own? Because Piper had her hand gestures. It took her a long time. I mean, probably the first 3 seasons to get a hold of that. And then it turns out she can also make things explode. That was a fun little surprise in there. I've seen this show a few times. Again, I love Buffy. I love my paranormal stuff. But I appreciated the fact that she was going, oh, and then the bullet's hot. I mean, that's accurate. The bullet would be hot. So she tries to get the bullet out, out of the way so it doesn't harm anybody. So she's trying to figure out in the moment with her magic, because we don't really get to experience too many magical moments.
Yeah.
It's kind of the climactic moment. And then I also love where's the comment up above? Book Butterfly, when she says, I was totally surprised when she stopped time. Then she ditched her date for the magic shop. The magic shop conversation with Honey, to me, felt like a mini climactic moment. I almost wanted to say that felt like more like of a climax. I mean, yes, we need our big murder mystery reveal, but to me, this was maybe the personal journey climactic moment, learning about herself, her heritage, what she's capable of. So it was almost a mini peek in the story. I want to give that scene, kind of highlight it, bookmark it, put all the little post-it notes around it, because that conversation laid out the entire magical system we're dealing with, we're learning about. And this is, to me, the Harry Potter. She includes Harry Potter references. So I'm going to use that example here, where he's going to Hogwarts. He doesn't know about magic. So when he's learning, us as the reader, we're learning. So it makes sense and it helps us in that way. And so she maybe she took the J.K. Rowling approach, going, okay, she doesn't know. So we're going to learn as the reader as she learns. So that Honey conversation, though, I wanted more Honey.
Yeah, and you will get more Honey in previous books. Honey and Honey's mom become really important to her, and guides and friends and mentors. And so, yeah, you'll see more magic. You'll see more of them in future books.
I just saw the comment. This is great. I'm wondering if there was a camera to catch it all, since they were on Main Street.
Like, where was everybody else? Well, I guess it was it raining? Wasn't it raining?
Oh, yes. But I mean, it is, what is it, CCTV? There's always something. I mean, yeah, I love the comments there, you guys. You hope there's more magic in the next book. Yeah. And then I saw there was a Smallville reference, Crystal T Knits. I loved Smallville. There have been so many references to Smallville over the last few weeks, because I know, what is it, Superman and Lois is ending, so they're bringing back all of the other Superman shows and referencing them. So thank you for the Smallville reference.
Oh yeah, you're right, Cat Mom. He doesn't start shooting at her till they're in the alley.
Yeah,
but he was chasing her down Main Street. Or maybe not. Does he start chasing her before they get to the alley or not? I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Vicky. I almost forgot. Honey was she was our all-being, all-knowing person. I loved this character. So also, can we just appreciate how low maintenance and just low-key Eudora was? This woman did not mind that children thought she was a witch and knocked on her door. So we get Phoebe, who's new to town and doesn't understand all of the gossip surrounding her. They thought she was a fake witch, witch. Again, this is why you're wearing the witch hat. The witch of the town. And so they're still knocking on her door. But poor Honey has to be laughing, going, no, those are just the kids. Go, no, you can go catch them. Yeah. Oh, the fun things Honey gets to explain. She gets to.
Well, that was interesting, though. Yeah, maybe the thing you were going to say is the necklace, like where she thinks maybe Eudora is haunting the house and left the necklace for her. And Honey's like, well, no, not exactly. But it may be that it was charmed in some way so that it would only become like, it would really show itself when you needed it or something like that. So, yeah.
I mean, she kind of got to be our lens into this magical world. And so Honey was so important. That scene, I mean, it was very well done, but I almost wanted her to go visit Honey again and be like, can we go get coffee every Friday at noon so you can teach me about my life and my world and what Eudora intended? And yeah, how do I stop time? It's in me, but how? I hope that we get some more of those moments, because I love it in paranormals when you get them reading their grimoire or something. And that was another thing. It actually reminded me of Grimm. There was an episode where they utilized food to, again, get a certain emotion, and it had consequences. So there are so many different things to pull from, but she made it unique. So I want to see how she's going to continue to make it unique. And yes, I love that you guys are saying Honey was our Yoda. She needs a guide. So yeah, I feel like this character is so important, but I also think it's funny that she's only 20, 21. So the younger character is the more knowledgeable, wise one about the world, which kind of is different than we have a lot of, oh, my grandmother in the Cozy Mystery is teaching me how to knit. My mother's teaching me about this part of our business. I love that we're kind of flipping things on their head just a little bit over here.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, interesting. The one thing that was the financial crisis. Even before she owned the town, Phoebe wasn't rich, but also not poor. That's true too.
And she actually talks about that. She does reference that. She's like, I don't exactly know what her previous jobs were, but she talks about how, like, I did save up a bit. So like I have a little bit of money. So I like that she kind of acknowledges that a bit, so that we don't have to be totally wondering, like, how is she doing this?
I like that my Grimm reference is getting some love. Thank you. I just rewatched it for I don't know how many. I got to the Nick and Adelaide season, so I like Adelaide. If you guys want to, you get the reference. Anywho, going back to the notations. So one of the notes, and I had this, and someone saw it, and I had it in the comments up above, and I lost it. But going back to Rich, he's a PI. So what do we think about a PI love interest? Because it's not the local sheriff who's the love interest, and it's not the, there's always a local sheriff or the journalist. There's certain tropes that we see a lot of with love interests. So we don't really get a lot of PIs. Agatha Raisin became a PI, but Rich is a PI. So he was a cop. So he has the connections. So that's useful. I mean, in Murder in Irish Village, we have the cop love interest, and he's able to give her insights into things. But I thought that was different to have a PI. I remember it was Alison Brooke, another paranormal cozy mystery. She had a guy who was a PI, somewhat of an interest. His job was interesting. It was an insurance, but it was kind of a PI like. But we don't really get a lot of PI love interests.
Yeah, I think it's useful because it allows her to have a sleuthing partner who is willing to go under the radar a little bit with her. And as people are bringing up, we didn't see him do it that much in this one. But in the past, that kind of comes along with where she's like, well, I want to look into this. Like, can you help me? And he's like, yes, I can. So it's kind of nice that there's someone who has expertise and knowledge, but they aren't the police person investigating the crime, where then there would be, or there should be, a conflict of interest, a question of if they're following procedure, et cetera, et cetera. You don't have to worry about it.
I mean, it was interesting to me because it seemed like a smart literary decision for a cozy mystery, but at the same time, it's different from what we've been encountering. And we also, I only have a couple notes down left. I mean, I've been trying to keep them organized over here. But we get a little bit of insight into Rich, but not too much. We know he's divorced. We know his wife moved on very quickly, and that hurt his feelings. But we also get hints about how, again, this is why you love Eudora. She almost kind of adopted him and Leo, giving them work, teaching them values, and that he had a rough home life. So we kind of got little bits of nuggets of info, but we're not kind of getting the full-on spotlight, not understanding everything. So we got some foreshadowing going. So I feel like maybe there's a little bit to that background of him causing him to, you know, okay, the Force is one thing, but I can be a PI and go about things my own way. I mean, he's not technically a PI. He's a consulting detective. I love my Sherlock, and I love my Elementary adaptation. Elementary is my favorite. I'm sorry, it is. I know I love my Benedict Cumberbatch shoe, but I love the PI component with that, but it's different. That's a different type of genre. Yes, it has the mystery, but that's under a different part of the mystery umbrella. It's not the cozy mystery. So it kind of gives you an insight into, like, we might also have this component of the mystery genre potentially. So it kind of gives her some fun room to put it, like, play with down the line, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
Do we think they end up as more than friends?
You'll have to keep reading.
Oh, you're cute. So I had that notation about Eudora helping Rich and Leo. For some reason, I made a note of that, and I just love that characterization because, again, she's not on the page, but we get so much insight into her, and that just shows what a wonderful, like, caring human being she is. Oh, and thank you, Meredith. Elementary was great. I will rewatch that show forever. It doesn't matter if it goes from Hulu to Amazon Prime back to Hulu. I follow. Normal behavior. But we were talking about before the paranormal world itself. So right off the bat, we have no ghosts. She says right off the bat, ghosts don't exist. So this is going to be an interesting paranormal series where we're limiting our world a little bit too. Or maybe Honey just doesn't know everything and there are ghosts. Right. So you're like, I've read the book, I know things.
Also, I think the idea that, like, even if Eudora isn't technically haunting the house, she may have found ways to be there in different ways, or bring things to her attention in different ways. So I think it makes you, you don't know what to expect. Who knows what's going to happen, or in what ways we'll still continue to see Eudora's presence, which is kind of fun.
So I'm just looking down. If you guys have anything you want us to talk about that we haven't talked about, if there's something you want to touch on, I did just see this comment. Psych is a forever favorite of mine. Sean and Gus are my ultimate sleuthing duo. I love them. Yeah. I love that show. So thank you for that Psych reference. You just made me very happy. I just have a few more notes, but if there's something you want us to talk about, please do that right now, because I want to make sure we discuss everything we want to discuss. But yeah. I just wanted to go back to say the pacing. So the body dropped at the 19% when I was reading the ebook, it was 19% when the body dropped, and it was at the end of chapter 10. So this goes back to the pacing where I think we kind of got the body drop in a good way. We got the climactic moment. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, the body dropped not necessarily late, but not super early as well. So we kind of got insight into the town before, hey, a murder happened here.
Yeah. Which I think definitely fits with it being the first book in a series and things like that. Another thing I was just thinking was, what did we think about who the actual villain ends up being? Because we talked about how there's a short list of suspects. But, just kind of what do we think of? I love the pineapple.
I know. I was just looking. I was like, this is amazing. My fellow psychos. Welcome.
What was Owen was Owen a good murderer? Was he believable? All that. We talked about how we were glad it wasn't Dierdre. But, I just wonder what people thought about that.
I love the pineapple emojis. You guys make me so happy. This is why I love you guys. Oh, we're on the same page. Okay, so I
took two people saying that her little conversation with Owen and buying shoes for him actually then kind of reduced him as a suspect. Interesting.
So we have to talk about this for a moment. I love how this is going to be kind of a little tangent digression. So Owen is friends with Dierdre. So automatically he's kind of going to be a suspect, because if you like the lady who's causing problems, there's something questionable about you. Just naturally. This is, again, when you don't like the animal, I'm going to look at you like a suspect. If you like the antagonist, so he's already snippy with Phoebe, and then he flat out is rude to her. And so you kind of go, okay, maybe you're a little too obvious to be our killer. And then she goes and apologizes, and he kind of actually turns on the charm a little bit.
Yeah.
And she buys shoes from Owen, because this is what he does. He's the shoe. I mean, the amount of time she says she needs shoes and finally goes and gets them. She loves them. She loves her purchase. And this is going to sound so dumb, but at the end of the novel, I'm thinking, so what happens? She can't return them. I know she loves them, but what about if you don't want to support him in financial business because he is a killer? Like, is there a return policy? I know you don't, but you just spent like what, $100 at his store, and now he just tries to kill you. That seems like you should get a free pair of shoes out of the inventory. Just saying, he shoots you, you get a free pair of shoes.
I mean, it's interesting. We know that she hears two people talking, and that clearly seem to be in cahoots with each other. And she's pretty sure one is Dierdre. And so I feel like you kind of know that it's got to be him that she's talking to once you see all the other characters. And I'm just wondering, do you think it's, do you buy that Dierdre didn't know anything about the murders? Because they were in cahoots in trying to break into her house.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to steal things from her, which, I mean, I'm sorry, Dierdre, you have no moral high ground for any other books. Like, look what you're trying to do. But do we think that, like, did she really not, like, think, oh, maybe Owen killed him?
See, this is the problem where I still have questions about things. I mean, what was Ox's intention when he wanted to go reclaim his inheritance? I mean, there's some lingering things where I would like more information about them, and this is kind of one of them. I was hoping maybe it would come up in a future book, because this is the fun moment, right? We know that she's going to try and break into the house, but we don't get that far because he's arrested first. So we don't actually get to see if Dierdre was going to go through with this plan or not. Yeah. But at the same time, she's willing to break and enter. Hello, crime. You can be arrested and charged for that, Dierdre. You might lose your real estate license, Dierdre. Just throwing that out there. But she has intentions that are not the best. Yeah. And so, okay, murder is definitely on the end of the spectrum of awful actions. But I mean, she's already kind of inching her way slowly. I mean, she's causing problems. She's lying to people, causing disturbances. I mean, I don't think she's too far away from getting there. If she's pushed a little bit down the line, we might see Dierdre. One of the mystery books that I was reading, and then UC Berkeley was having a mystery class, and they mention if you're writing a mystery novel, so this is a fun little tidbit for y'all. This is probably the one thing I've taken away from the class, because again, I've been studying mystery novels for so long, a lot of it's repetitive. So my favorite thing that I've learned was, if you're writing a mystery novel, have a backup bad guy in case your real intended bad guy is too obvious and or you run into problems with your narrative. Have someone that you set up just as much that could be a red herring, but you might end up deciding to turn them into the bad guy. So I kind of was wondering if that's what was happening here, where she was setting Dierdre up to be the bad guy, and everyone goes, no, it's too obvious. You got to make it someone else. And Owen worked. Like, he was the other bad guy option. Because Dierdre, again, we know she's a little too far gone. We're going, yeah, no. She's obvious. Whereas Owen, okay, he actually still fits the bill. But at the same time, I mean, Dierdre has questions. But that was one of the things I was wondering, thinking, like, maybe it was intended to be Dierdre, but she changed her mind after the draft thing or something. No honor among thieves. I just saw the comment. That's great.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's interesting.
You're like, oh, I'm glad I could say something.
Yeah.
I'm glad. The only other notation I had here, aside from the fact that I love the name of the place, it's called the Earl's Study. And then we have the Sugar Plum Fairy Store. Then we have the Green Thumb. We also have Lane End House. They named the house. And this is, again, an Agatha Christie sort of reference, because I love Peril at End House. And so it's called Lane End House. I thought another Agatha Christie homage was there. But as a leading lady, I mean, she's also handling the fact she got her witch powers. I mean, she's handling that very well. I don't think I would be as calm as her, but so one of the relatable components here was if you're a woman running early in the morning and you see a stranger, thank you for running away from said stranger. Like,
yes,
we learn it's Rich. We know she wasn't in any real danger, but she ran, and that was the smart choice. So I appreciate the fact we have a leading lady who's making smart choices, and I hope she continues to make the smart choices in book 2 and 3.
Definitely.
But if there's something else you wanted to touch on, please do. If there's any questions in the comments, please post them. I'll go scroll up to see if there are any that we've missed so far.
I feel like I've mostly said everything that I was thinking of. Oh, the management property. The rent did not increase ever. I would yeah, I mean, you wonder how that could possibly work. Like, he must have really set her up well because, you know, inflation and things like that. Like, that would be pretty hard to pull off.
But for 20 years, that's what my question is. It didn't go up anything, nothing for 20 years. So I'm currently in Massachusetts, but when I was living in DC, they would actually have different values for your apartment depending on the month. So if it was one of those, the prime real estate, like, okay, yes, if you try and get your lease done in the summer months, it's going to be more expensive because more people are interested. So we can charge you higher amount. And then if you want to get an apartment in January, it's going to be a little bit less expensive than if you get it in the summer. So they actually changed the prices month to month. And so it depended on when you were locked into your lease. And so I'm thinking, you couldn't even get anything like that. And they're able to have the same rent for their businesses for 20 years, and I didn't have consistency depending on when I got my lease. I mean, I'm going, they have it made. That's amazing. Rent control at its finest.
It's just also especially amazing that this company gets things fixed for them. Yeah, right. Why would they want to rock the boat? It's working so well. But not only is the rent low, but the management company also gets things done. They fix things when they need to be fixed. I mean, that's a big deal with a landlord. That's what makes you want to stay with a landlord for sure. So yeah, it's like a well-oiled machine that, right, nobody's going to complain or say anything, and they're just not going to question because it's perfect.
I mean, it's true. And I also just saw this answer. It was magic. I love that. That was a cute little response right there. Because, I mean, I understand. Yeah, you wouldn't want to rock the boat. But if I'm paying the same rent 10 years later, I might be kind of looking like, okay, am I safe? Am I good? Do I need this in writing? Do I need another contract? I mean, I would want to make sure because I would get nervous. This would cause anxiety going, are they going to all of a sudden come back and say you have back rent that you owe? I would have so many questions. This is why I would be a very interesting character in a cozy mystery. I would cause problems for their narrative so quickly. The realism, I would need it. I would have so many questions about these things. I would never be able to function. But, oh. Yeah, no, it did not change for 20 years. The rent was the same. I double checked that. I wrote that down multiple times. The rent was consistent for 20 years. I mean, I didn't have it month to month. So that's why I was going, I know in Friends, Monica's apartment is rent controlled, and that's a huge component to the storyline with the Nana being in charge of that. So yeah, I think that these shop owners, they're a very fortunate Main Street. I mean, I'd be interested in that. Okay, yes. From Phoebe's perspective, as a newcomer, I'd be questioning what was going on too. Yes. Yeah. I like this. Who would love to live there? No rent increase. But that just shows that Eudora was doing it for the good of the town and not for monetary profit. So again, more reasons to love Eudora.
And Nita, yeah, I was curious about that too. Not only Bob being fed for weeks with no one being there, also how like all of her plants at the store were still really nice, but she thinks Imogen probably continued watering them. But like her baking ingredients are all still like fresh and ready to go. I think was the sourdough had been fed to or whatever. Yep. It has to have happened to it. That had continued too. I guess maybe Imogen did that. I don't know. She just assumed. So like all these things.
That's why I didn't want it to be Imogen. It couldn't have been. She was too thoughtful.
So yeah.
Yes, and is baking a real thing?
Yes, and that's why this reminds me so much of the tea shop in my town, because they make amazing baked goods and they use their tea in them. They make macarons with their tea. They make an Earl Grey cinnamon bun that is amazing. They make scones with their tea. It's so good. Rich is the one who fed the cat. Okay, thanks, T.
That explains. I had questions about that. I have my little video overlays of tea being poured. I have my little premium things. And I was going, yes, I'm going to use them and be prepared for tonight. I have all my little overlays. But I'm with you right there. I wanted to know about this little cat because she was gone for 1 day's worth of work, and she came home and this cat was not happy. So if Bob went without food for 6 weeks, I could not picture that because he was mad about 6 hours. I mean, I think I've only ever had one. It was an Earl Grey cookie. I was in Ohio, and it was just a random cafe that had it. I've never had it anywhere else, and it was amazing. And so this was probably 7 years ago now, and I still dream about that Earl Grey infused cookie.
I'm completely spoiled by their macarons. Like everywhere else, they aren't as good because they're just so unique, and like just the flavors. Oh, it's so good.
Oh my gosh. See, now pastries in general. Okay, I just had a cookie. Pastries that's plural. Now I want to try all these Earl Grey infused things. And I'm trying to do so good. I'm trying to drink my water, be healthy, and then we're talking about all these recipes in the back of the book. I mean, there's so many things you want to do. I want to enjoy the baking. Get to live vicariously through the cozy mystery.
Enjoy the baking and drink lots of tea.
I know. So this is also me, right? So I actually was so proud of myself. This was my profile photo in the thumbnail. So I actually got the mug specifically because I'm like, I want to match the thumbnail. So I was drinking this before and it got cold and I was still drinking it. And in the book, she's going, this latte is too good. I don't care. It's cold. I'm going to keep drinking it. I'm going, okay, I'm on the same wavelength with Phoebe. If you love your latte, it doesn't matter if it's cold.
Yeah, you drink it cold. Yeah, that's true. So true.
I will say, I almost forgot. This was one of those things I mentioned in the Instagram stories. Please get your comments in now because all of your comments go towards a giveaway entry. And so tonight, one lucky sleuther is going to get 2 books courtesy of Kensington Cozies. If you are, someone mentioned Hannah Swenson before, the Lake Eden Cookbook and Murder on the Page by Daryl Wood Gerber. So get your comments in because these books could be yours. I will randomly select a winner and announce the person's name in the email newsletter first. Please try and check that because it's difficult trying to find y'all with just a username. Sometimes with YouTube, you can find people. Other times they'll bring you to a page and then there's no contact info. And then I just hope for the best that you'll find me on Instagram because the algorithm is working that day. So please check the email newsletter because your comments are going towards a giveaway. So it might just be you. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing the comments back up. Yes, Joey and Fluke. She's still making this. I don't know how she's functioning. There's so many books in that series. It's so impressive. And then fun fact, if you don't win these books tonight, you can actually win them later on for 12 Days of Cozies because they're both going to be popping up again. So every day during 12 Days of Cozies, there's an Instagram giveaway. So both of these books are actually going to be popping up again. So if you don't win tonight, you still might be a winner. So still. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cute. Thank you for saying that. Oh my gosh. Yes, I don't know if there are any recipes in the book. I know Kensington, I think they sent me the ARC or the paper copy. I think I just got it today, actually. I haven't gone through my mail yet because I was planning for a certain event tonight, but I'll look and let you know. But yes, so if you don't win tonight, don't worry. You can still get these same titles, and there are going to be... right now, Kensington is offering 13 for the Instagram, and then there are going to be 12 ebooks in the email newsletter. So there are going to be lots of mysteries for you guys to potentially win. So I got you guys covered. But I wanted to mention tonight's books. If you don't win, you still could be.
Very cool. So yeah, I think we've talked about all the things we wanted to talk about. If anybody has any last things. But Angela, did you have things you want to bring up for future?
I mean, I wanted to make sure you guys knew about the giveaway because I know Kensington is always so generous. Seriously, I don't know if Larissa, I mean, there's so many things on her plate, but like seriously giving Larissa at Kensington a shout out. This woman works super hard and she's always so generous. I mean, again, I get to offer 2 paperbacks tonight to a sleuther. Every month I get to give something away to somebody and say thank you for joining. So I love that. I appreciate that. But I will go back and pull it up. So we get to do this tonight. I cannot believe I'm like, dun, 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 dun. Oh, there it is. Check mark. We're so close. I don't know how this is possible. I cannot believe we're saying goodbye to October. And then next month, Up to No Gouda is the last YouTube live stream for the book club for 2024. But I get to also announce something else that I've been posting about. So in the email newsletter, I announced this, and then I posted this on Instagram, but I will share it here tonight. We have our official 2025 TBR. The titles are on the Instagram page. I have them in the story highlights. So all of the titles have been shared across platforms, Threads, Twitter.
So many good ones.
I am so excited. I was very happy with the diverse array of authors and titles, and we have different type of books here. So we have across the board with hobbies, and we have a historical, and I was just very, very happy with these results. So I'm really hoping you guys are able to add these to your TBR, future library hauls, book hauls. If you want to put together your lists for Christmas of your wish list items, if you want to try and get your significant other to give you a book for Christmas, if you want one of these, I have the titles ready for you. So I am just so happy that we have our list, and it seems like such a great list. I mean, it's hard to go wrong. I always do the research when you guys recommend titles, but you guys recommended these books and voted on them. So I feel like this is a great representation of what you guys look for, want, and I'm just so happy that these are the titles. I was able to double check. Everything's offered across platforms. So you can get these books through your library, through Amazon, Barnes & Noble. They're not limited anywhere. They're all available in multiple formats. So you have the ebook, paperback, and the audio. So all of these titles, I've double checked everything. You are all set, and you can start adding them to your TBR. And I'm so excited to chat about them with you in 2025. And if she agrees, I'm putting her on the spot right now. Colleen is our October guest host. So October next year is Secondhand Spirits. So if she is game, I'm going to start making the thumbnail for her tonight.
Of course, you know I want to be there. And I see lots of people excited about Up to No Gouda for next month. And that is, I mean, just beware, you are going to be hungry because the grilled cheese details are in full force and absolutely delectable. So you are going to want to be like eating grilled cheese the whole time.
So I have multiple videos that I've been editing to prepare for next month, and I've been having the best time with this book cover. So I just showed it to y'all, but Daisy has not joined us tonight. I have a teacup Maltese, and she reminds me of the dog on the cover. So I have like a very special interest invested in this dog. So I have a video that I edited where Daisy is right next to this book cover, and I'm so excited to share it with you because it makes my heart melt. I'm going, look, she looks like the dog on the cover. So I'm going, we have a cheese mystery. We have the dog who reminds me of my little fur baby. So I'm already loving this book, and I haven't even opened it yet.
Yay. Oh, it's fun. It's fun. I just wanted to put kind of like a warning, almost like a trigger warning out there about the December book, A Christmas Murder Game. I have read it, and I just want to say that it is not cozy. I just want you to know that because there's actually some pretty kind of disturbing stuff in it in terms of like graphic things. And so I just want to say it, not to dissuade someone from reading it, but just like if you're going into it being, because for me, like when Christmas, I want to be like cozy and like, you know, Hercule Poirot and his radiator.
Yeah.
It will not give you cozy, warm feelings. And it's pretty dark. And I just want to say it, you know, because I just really want people to know, because I would hate people to be hoping for one thing and then not getting it.
This is one of those books where this book actually won by a landslide, I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly. And so I'm kind of wondering if this was one of those, maybe it markets better as a cozy mystery versus actually being a cozy mystery, or if it's going to be on the spectrum of we have really super fun, like if you've got it, Haunt It, y'all. I mean, I love that book. It's so lighthearted, so many puns, so much fun. Whereas this one, I feel like it wants to be Agatha Christie and maybe like a little plus to it. So I was kind of curious about that as well, because at the same time, I mean, I have very strong opinions about what I believe counts as a cozy mystery, but once you start getting into too much swearing, there's certain, when it's cozy mystery, it's supposed to be, the definition is no on the page sex, no graphic violence, very little to no swearing. And so this is where you're going, okay, well, we just had a couple swears in here. We're pushing the boundary over here. Okay, there's one book where they're going, he gave her that look, and then they fade to black, but it's not on the page, so it's okay. So books are starting to push the boundaries a little bit more. And there's actually a book with Kensington coming out where they say it's not a full-fledged cozy mystery, but it has some cozy vibes. And they actually put that in the blurb. And I'm going, this is really interesting. So I do think this might be one of those, okay, at least they're giving you a jet black book cover. So you know from the get-go, it's not an animated illustrated version. So maybe in a way they're trying to give you okay, we're not totally full-fledged cozy, but we're still going to somehow market it that way. So I'm hoping maybe people will still enjoy it. I'm still going to include it as the buddy read. People voted for it. But I mean, I was kind of curious about that because I think this is a matter of, like, there was one, I swear, there was one cozy mystery we had where I'm like, this is a women's fiction novel. I am sorry. It's not a cozy mystery, but it reads well. It's written well. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think sometimes people think, okay, we have a market, we have an audience, and we're going to put this over here. So
it's an interesting topic. And actually, Jay is mentioning Dial A for Aunties is not a cozy. And I agree. And we do not put it in the cozy mystery section at the bookstore where I work. I make sure if it ever sneaks down there, I put it back because it is not, that is not a cozy series. So
I just saw this. Can I ask, is there if something ever happens to the Cozy Companion, I will riot. I am right there with you. I actually was trying to put together my list of things, and I'm like, if something ever happens to the animal, no, we can't do this. That is one of my
remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember if there is I mean, it's not cozy at all, so there can't be a Cozy Companion. But I can't. What I'm saying is, I can't remember if there are animals and violence towards animals. I don't think so. I don't think so.
I like Tara's comment here. It's dark, but really good. I loved it. And I can't watch dark movies. So even if it is dark, we still I'm like, it's Crystal Teen Knits approved. I know it's a good warning. This is one of those, I think intentionality when you pick up a book matters. So like, this is a very slow paced book. If you're hoping for something like every page, we're going to be dropping bodies, like this is not the book for you. But if you want the cozy vibes, it's your book. So it just depends on what you're looking for. Yeah. And if you're a Christmas, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes when it comes to the Christmas movies, this is where you get like the Krampus thing, where you're going, okay, too many people are happy with Hallmark movies. We're gonna give you a horror. So I know there are people out there who want dark Christmas. So if this is you, go for it.
Right. Oh my gosh, I completely agree with someone was saying in that one Leslie Meyer one that like pet died. That was so horrible. And that is like a full-fledged like cozy mystery. Although it's old. That's the first book. It's pretty old. But that was horrible.
Yeah, I have very strong opinions about that. And I met her, and like one of my things was like, how did you do this? I didn't say that to her, but mentally I'm like,
you seem like a lovely person. How
and like, you seem so kind-hearted, and she's so little too. I was like, I could pick her up and put her anywhere I wanted. She's so tiny, like she was adorable. But I did have that in my mind. I'm going, oh, I do have questions.
Cat Mom's like, this was your chance to get questions answered, Angela.
I know it was in person, so there wasn't any documented on the record thing. I mean, so it could have satisfied the curiosity. But again, I'm a mystery reader. I'm always curious. Something's always going to be like going at the back of my mind. There's always something. I mean, it was Karina Moss. She has the fish, and I interviewed her, and I still haven't posted this interview. I'm going to post it at some point. But in the interview, she says, yeah, this fish is going to live a very long time, much longer than the average fish. Good. So we can keep the fish alive. We can keep the other pets and cozy companions alive.
Good.
I have faith in us.
Yes.
I have faith in us. Yes, I know. I mean, Charlene Harris. It was on HBO. We think Hallmark, but then we have HBO, so it's different. Happy Lady Gizmo, happy Halloween. Oh, you guys are so cute. So I mentioned we have our TBR. I shared that across platforms. The November YouTube live stream giveaway is going to be a trinket for the taking by Victoria Laurie. And again, that's a Kensington Cozy book. And if you don't win it that night either, it's coming back for 12 days of cozies. Okay. And then I'm just going to pull it up because I want to make sure I have all of the little graphics and everything. So our book for next month is Up to No Gouda. And let's see, where did it go? As I have all of these things, I try to be so prepared. The live stream is going to be on November 26th at 7 p.m. EST. And so please get your copy as soon as possible. Add it to your next TBR, your library haul, because that is the last live stream for 2024, because then we're going right into 12 days of cozies. So that's my little graphic right there for that. I have all of the information on the website. I have been working on this website so frequently. So the 12 days of cozies information is right there. The Instagram challenges. I have the giveaway. I have a lot of the titles already posted. Some of the participating authors. I'm currently scheduling more authors for the official schedule. Right now, I know we have Vicki Delaney. I know Victoria Gilbert, Kate Lansing. There's quite a list of people right now. I know the book tonight, Darla Gerber is one of the giveaways. She's doing it. So every night there's going to be a Cozy Mystery author across platforms. Last year, I had the Twitter chat, and then I was also having authors do their own time. So I'm pretty much asking authors whatever platform they want to use. I will post that as the designated time, but there's still going to be reading sprints from 5 to 8 p.m. for Twitter. And then depending on your preference, I also am doing 9 to midnight p.m. EST. I know you have to convert depending on where you are in the world, but that'll be on Threads. So depending on your platform, I've got you covered with reading sprints and the authors. So far, we have a Facebook Live, we have an Instagram Live, a Twitter, a Threads chat. So people are across platforms. So no matter where you're celebrating Cozy Mysteries, whatever time you're celebrating them in during the day, I have got you covered. December 1st through December 12th. Please check out the website. It has all the information, and sign up for the email newsletter, because every time you open that, you're automatically entered for a digital giveaway. And also that's going to have all of the day's Instagram challenges, giveaway winners, and you want to know if you won the giveaway. So you got to check the email newsletter to see if your name's posted. So all sorts of stuff. So please do that. And I'm missing all sorts of comments. I just saw it said 27 that I missed. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. Thank you. I'm hoping you guys have a happy Halloween too.
Happy Halloween.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, where else? And so I was talking before, like I wasn't even looking down at the notes, but 12 Days of Cozies is coming. So November is the last live stream. December, it's the buddy read. You guys, so again, the December buddy read, maybe this is actually good if it's a darker cozy mystery. It's not going to be an official, we got to have it read at a certain time and date. So you can read it at your leisure. So no matter if it's your book or not, you can DNF it, use it for an Instagram challenge. I mean, the Instagram challenges are all classic cozy mystery inspired. So we have our Agatha Christie and our Perot, and I have an image there for psych. So if you guys are psychos, I mean, you guys are posting your pineapples, I have a psych one for you. So I've got you covered with that. But I'm really appreciative of you guys taking the time to chat. I have Colleen's information in the description box. I'm going to pull it up here again. I love the background for you. I did this. I mean, for some reason, I got butterflies for Colleen. So I made this a little while ago. I know your numbers have gone up, and your post is changed, but you can still tell I'm following her. It says following in the upper corner, so you can still see that's accurate. So please check out her account. If you have any other questions, please let me know. You can feel free to DM me on Instagram, Twitter, Threads. I have all of the platforms, but if it's easiest and it's probably most direct, email. I had a very fun moment last week where I found out my email was putting things into categories. So I literally did not see almost 20,000 emails. I'm not even kidding. This apparently has been going on for years. So I had categories where it was in promotions, social, and something else, and things were being filtered, and I was unaware of it. So my email, officially, you will be able to get through those categories now. I made it so. Please feel free to email if you have any questions about anything. So I'm putting that out there. It's in the description box, but I'm really hoping you guys are able to add these books to your TBR. Oh my God. Okay, thank you. Thank you for saying Gmail has categories. I did not put anything into action. I did not actually say, I'm going to have this as a filter. I never did anything. I never knew that was happening. I found out by accident. So, yeah, I literally found out. So, this has been going on for almost 6 days. I started with almost 21,000 unread. I am down to 17,000 unread and unfiltered. So, progress. Okay, you guys are fully in the know. I haven't told anyone else that ever. But thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you everybody. It's so nice to talk with you, and yeah, thanks for joining us for a spooky Halloween
I know. And if you guys really did, I mean, it seems like a lot of people really enjoyed this book. Maybe we can organize a buddy read or something, because I know a lot of people really, really loved it. So if you want a buddy read, I can make it work. So I'm very excited. I know I want to listen to the narration for book 2. I am game for that. I know you already read this, your daughter. I'm like, it's Colleen's daughter. She's approved it. Like we're good. So I'm very happy. And I'm so appreciative that you guys took time out of your night to talk about this book and celebrate cozy mysteries with us. I'm always blown away by the sheer amount of comments, and I'm sorry if we can't share or talk about them all tonight, but I am going to be going through them for the giveaway. And I have to say, last time it took me multiple days to go through all the comments, and I'm just sitting there smiling going, oh, I'm so glad they like this. Oh my gosh, this comment was so sweet. So your comments really do mean a lot to me. So if they were not up here tonight, please know I am going to be reading them in the coming days, and you might just want a giveaway because of it. So thank you for commenting. And thank you to Colleen for being such a fabulous guest hostess. And clearly, I'm already adding her name to the planner mentally, like, okay, 2025, Colleen, we know who's going to be there for Secondhand Spirits. We can already plan ahead. Yes. So thank you to Colleen for that. And I appreciate your daughter and husband letting me borrow you for such a long time. Thank you. I feel like I held you hostage, but thank you to Colleen, and thank you guys for joining. Please stay safe, kind, and creative, and please join us for Up to No Gouda, and hopefully you enjoy some Gouda. It's going to be, I feel like I wanted to say the pun, like I can't do it though. It's going to be a lot of fun. Gouda fun. See if I can do it and not follow my words. But, and maybe Daisy will join us because she looks like the dog on the cover. So we shall see. But thank you guys so much, and happy reading, writing, and sleuthing, everybody.
Bye, everybody.